There is no doubt that immigration and opioids are major issues in our society, and the two are linked. Of course, some people say that they're linked because we need to have the border policy that we have to keep drugs out of our country. But that's simply not true. My name is Doug Padgett. I'm the executive director of Vote Common Good and a pastor from Minneapolis, Minnesota. In the fall of 2021, we invited people to come and see what's happening along the border. We did that by riding our bicycles along the U.S.-Mexico border from California all the way to the tip of Texas. Along that ride, we met so many people that helped us to understand the truth of what's going on our U.S.-Mexico border. And it's not what we've been told. We've been fed a line of the dangers of our U.S.-Mexico border and how our border policy and the use of a wall is somehow keeping drugs out of our country. But truthfully, the opioid crisis, which has driven so much pain and so much addiction in our society, didn't come from drugs coming across the border. It came from the pharmaceutical companies in the United States selling opioids as if they were safe, knowing all along that they were addictive. One of the people who joined us on this journey was Danny Strong. Danny is an actor, writer, film producer. He has recently completed a project on Hulu called Dopesick. Dopesick tells the story of how Purdue Pharma sold opioids to the American population as if they were safe, knowing all along that they were addictive. The connection between the stories told in the media about opioids and the stories told about immigration share a common reality. They're just simply not true. The dangers that have come from opioid addiction have come from inside the United States. Building a wall or trying to keep immigrants or trying to keep asylum seekers out of our country is not the way that we're going to solve the problems related to opioid and drug addiction in this country. And like so many of us on the ride, Danny wants to tell his story about what he experienced. Here he is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Holland, Michigan.
Well, thanks for sitting through the trailer here, and thank you, Doug. Truly amazing organization. I'm really feel honored to be a part of this. One of the reasons why I wanted to make Dopesick, which is the story of the opioid crisis, was because I was blown away by the lies and the deception of this company, Purdue Pharma, in selling a highly addictive narcotic as non-addictive. And from that lie, we have the opioid crisis, which you're all familiar with. But one of the things that was so fascinating to me about it, and so disturbing about it, was how this company was able to maneuver through the highest levels of the US government. The FDA, the DEA, the Justice Department, all the institutions of government that were there to stop them, to protect us from dishonest companies like Purdue Pharma, like the Sackler family who run Purdue Pharma. They let them go. They failed us. And people often ask me, how did that happen? And the answer is very simple. It's money. They were able to use their money and the amount of money that this product made to maneuver their way through and to keep selling all these years later. And when I look at the border situation, one of the first things that crosses my mind about the wall, the policies, is that same word, which is money. It is a huge business, and it's a business that motivates the US government to keep it going. One of the elements of it is just the private prisons. These private prisons, I believe there are 4 in just Arizona alone. The number of hotels all along the border that are occupied, 80% by US government officials. So it's literally a big, huge business that there is a lot of motivation from people at the highest levels to keep going that has nothing to do with immigration policy. Now, when Pastor Doug asked me to come to the border to bike for a few days, I didn't really know anything about the border besides the general perception of it, which is that it's dangerous, right? I mean, that's the media narrative about the border, which, you know, it's lawless, it's dangerous, it's a war zone, it's cartel-ridden. And I thought, well, I assumed that wasn't completely true, and Pastor Doug was going to be there. He's very tall, so I felt like, well, I'll be safe with Doug. And my fiance, she was terrified that I was going to go bike along the border. I'm like, baby, don't worry, I'm very tough. I can handle this, right? So we show up there on the border, and there was maybe 6 of us, 7 of us, all in matching blue shirts. It's not the toughest group you've ever seen. And what did we see there? Was it dangerous? Was it violent? Was it scary? The polar opposite in every way. It was completely normal. Just people living their lives. I mean, the strangest thing that was there on the border was us biking in our matching shirts through Mexico. And we were biking through Mexico, and what did people do? They waved, you know? They waved. Some people looked at us a little weird, like, you know, like, what are you guys doing? I'd wave, and they'd wave back. It was so friendly, so normal. And Doug, this was mostly your experience across the entire border, wasn't it? You know, that it was just this polar opposite of what the media narrative is. Now, there was one element to it that was scary and that was unsettling, and that was the wall. The wall was the scariest part of the border, and not on the Mexico side. On the Mexico side, looking at the wall, there are parts of it where there are murals, it's painted, but on the U.S. side, there is this barbed wire that makes it look like a prison. Except the people that are in prison, according to the visual of this wall, is the United States. We're the ones that are in prison. I mean, this is me looking at the wall, right? And I remember having this feeling of, oh, it's our souls are imprisoned by this wall. This is not who we are. This wall, it felt like it was filled with anger and hate. And it made me thinking, you know, where does this come from? Where does all of this come from? And there's a pretty clear answer, which is the media narrative. That is the opposite, as I said, of what I and what Doug actually experienced along this ride. And who are the victims of that narrative? Well, everyone you've heard about tonight. You know, these incredible videos and these people and the presentations by Dora and Alma that are, you know, so deeply moving. They're the ones that are the heroes, having to protect the people that are the victims of our policy. And, you know, and I'll just say that as someone who works in the media, in entertainment, one of the things that's I find really disturbing is that I see in news stories, and this just isn't just Fox News, you know, I see this on CNN, I see this on MSNBC, I see this on Twitter when you look at links to articles, that there is an extremism, and the extremism is so you'll watch it. The news, it wants to make you angry. It wants to make you scared. Because it's trying to entertain you in a weird way, in the way that me and my friends that write material and write scripted drama, the way that we're trying to entertain you, except we're trying to do it as, quote, entertainment, right? But the news is doing it because it wants you to watch. It wants you to click. And it's doing it with extremism, with heightened drama, with manipulating the truth, or in the case of the border, creating a false narrative. And what does that do when we watch it? It makes us angry. It agitates us. And that anger makes our fellow citizens our enemies if they don't believe the same thing we believe. I spoke to a couple tonight who they changed their vote in 2016 from Trump to in 2020 to Biden, and friends didn't talk to them anymore. That doesn't feel like who we are as a people or what this country is about. But I believe that these narratives that we're fed, it gives this anger that makes us hate our people that don't believe the exact same thing we believe. And so, you know, one thing I would love to just, you know, for you to be a gospel of, to spread, is to look at the news and look at when it's trying to scare you or trying to make you nervous or trying to get you to click. And once you start thinking this way, I did that like I'm going crazy, which I am going a little crazy with watching all this stuff. You start to see it everywhere. You start to realize how much that extremism is being used to just get eyeballs so that people can make money from it. And all of this comes back to where I began, which is money. And we've got the Sackler family with the opioid crisis making money. We've got the owners of private prisons along the border making money. We've got a few small families that own media empires making money. It's a very small group of people making a lot of money off of tearing apart this country, off of creating this hatred amongst people that are just coming to this country seeking better lives. And in doing so, I think we need them as much as they need us. And I think that what Pastor Doug is doing, what this whole mission is doing, is, I think, one of the most important narratives that can be told in this country today. So thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you.